April 22nd, 2023. Well, the House of Representatives passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act the other day on a strict party line vote, with every Republican voting for it and every Democrat voting against it, except for those not voting. And I think that's about 7 members, I think it was, something like that. So this is a clear party split. I mean, we'll actually see what happens in the Senate. I'm pretty sure the Senate probably won't even take it up for a vote, considering it's under Chuck Schumer's Democrat control. But anyhow, so that's, I think, may become a key issue going forward, because obviously the Republicans need to do something to kind of encroach on the women's issues that the Democrats usually win on. And so I think this will be an area where I think the Republicans can make a little bit of stride if they handle it right. And that's kind of the basic topic I want to get into tonight here. So anyhow, of course, this I think notably one of the things is Riley Gaines was beaten by a boy that goes by the name of Leah Thomas. And anyhow, and a swimming contest, and she's become quite a figure lately out there on this. I know that they seem to be that she's become a fundraiser for the Republicans, or at least the Republicans are using her as a fundraiser. And some emails I've got is one of the issues that's being discussed quite a bit. And there's a lot of issues here. I mean, quite seriously, for the most part, a fairly mediocre male athlete can typically compete well and even beat most top level female athletes in a given age range and so forth. So it creates a major fairness issue to allow them to compete. And so I think that's one of the things that we need to kind of, frame this issue with. And so at any rate, and the other issue, of course, is just the pure safety of it. I mean, in certain sports, depending on the, what we're talking about, I mean, the simple fact that it may put girls at risk of physical injury, that they would be less likely to suffer competing against pure female athletes, particularly in the fighting sports or whatever. And notice also that there's no big push or issue about the so-called trans boys, that is, girls that want to transition to being a boy participating in boys sports. Oh, that again may have a physical injury risk in some of the sports, depending on what they are, that would be elevated. That's not become an issue because they're not really besting the boys, and so nobody much cares, I guess. And so I think that's the real issue here is ultimately, if this phenomena becomes more widespread, it'll eventually kind of wreck girls' sports in a way, because they'll be denied the top positions and therefore the financial benefits that they might get in terms of scholarships and so forth. By the way, if you like these videos, please give me a like. I appreciate the new subscriptions. And so if you haven't subscribed, please do. And so anyhow, I think there's a lot going on here. And I think it depends on what we're talking about. In general, I think the whole idea is completely crazy. We have a situation where the Democrat Party and its supporters apparently have elevated, basically a form of mental illness to a cause. And think that we should basically go along with what those that are not seeing reality the way it is should believe. Now, of course, there are specialized cases we could get into, and there are, I don't know, there are a rare number of people who have genetic anomalies, let's say, the XXY male and and so forth, and things of that sort. I mean, these conditions exist in rare numbers, and I don't know how that handles with respect to sports, but I think, again, trying to organize a whole policy on these things around the idea that we should cater to a very small number of aberrant conditions is just crazy. The other thing that's most objectionable is this whole idea of identifying as either a boy or a girl. I mean, they don't have to be. I mean, there are people that go through some transitions involving drugs, involving surgeries, and so forth. I mean, that's one thing. But there are people that simply, as I understand this, Leah Thomas, I understand, hasn't gone through any of that. It's just a boy who identifies as a girl, probably because he can't win at male swimming, but can win at women and female competitions. So, I mean, but at least that's my understanding. If that's not the case, well, but it seems that seems to be what has been claimed by this Riley Gaines, who was his competitor and who's out there addressing the issue. So, but in any rate, there are other cases, many other cases, which aren't as famous, where that is the actual situation. These are fully functioning boys, in every sense, a boy, except or a man who is identifying as a female. And we're starting to see this even in like prison populations, where male prisoners will identify as a female and then get transferred to a female prison. And I think we can see what could go wrong with that, right? I mean, so this is Democrat insanity is on parade. I mean, I think this time they've probably gone too far, or has the whole country gone over the hill? I don't know which at this point. But I think this should be a major issue we should put forward, and I think it could have some resonance, particularly because this will apply to girls and boys in school, like grade school and particularly in high school, so it won't be just a few people at high level performance athletics. It'll be people on your basketball and volleyball teams in high school and middle school will be affected by these policies, and as this madness is being permeated by social media and these so-called woke teachers who are promoting these things, we're probably going to see more of it. I mean, this will not be this phenomenon will probably grow over time, I think, as it's being put forward. And of course, we've had the case already about the bathroom issues in the past, and issues of that sort, where a girl was actually raped in a girl's bathroom by a transgender boy in Virginia. It's led to some cases, and led to protests and even an FBI effort to go after the parents, at least to issue an order to look into that. I'm not sure to what degree it's actually been carried out, but just the fact that the Attorney General was thinking about it shows you how far off this really is. And so, anyhow, I just want to hit these issues, and at a very minimum, I would think in order to participate, they should have to have fully completed their transition with surgery and so forth before they could actually participate in actual competition. And I even doubt that. I mean, a lot of people argue that the body bone structure and muscular structure of a boy is still typically stronger than the typical female. Now, I guess there's always going to be certain aberrations in this thing, but again, the whole idea is, if this is what we're going to do, letting boys actually participate actively in girls' sports, then why do we even have a thing called girls' sports? Why don't we just have sports? And everybody can participate. Then we won't have these issues at all, will we? Well, I don't think they're going to agree to that, because, of course, the trans women, as they call themselves, won't do too good in that environment, will they? Nor will the girls. So, or the women, depending on what age range we're talking about. So I think that shows that, well, this alone, plus the fact that nobody's complaining about the opposite situation, whereas the trans boy participating in boys' sports, nobody's too worried about that, are they? As I mentioned earlier. So, in a nutshell, I salute the Republicans for passing this. I think, unfortunately, we're not going to get it through this Senate or past this senile president we have. However, I think our hope is, as the states have passed these laws and as they get challenged, hopefully this will get the Supreme Court and hopefully the Supreme Court will ultimately make the right decision based on original intent arguments that when they passed Title IX, they actually meant biological males and females, and therefore they didn't mean any of this sort of thing at all. And if they make that sort of ruling, then it would force a legislative change to be passed in order to actually reverse this. And this is how we could win, because then we could block it in the House or block it in the Senate with a filibuster. So that would put us in a strategically defensive position, which is easier to carry out than a strategically offensive position. Kind of analogous to war, actually, if you think of it. But at any rate, so that's basically what I think about that subject. I salute Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans for passing this. And I think we have an issue we could really use if it's handled right, and particularly focusing a lot on, the issue of scholarships and just general participation, particularly in middle and high school. I think particularly, as well as college, of course, but I think it's at that level you'd affect the most people and hopefully get the most mothers and fathers upset about what the Democrat Party has planned for their children. And this goes along with all the other crazy ideas, like introducing them to transitioning without telling the parents and things of that sort. It all kind of fits together. So anyway, I'll wrap this up for now, and of course, I'll be posting this on Rumble as well. And I'll try to have a little bit of a muted title on this thing because I'm going to be posting it primarily on YouTube. So, but I just want to let my position be known, and also the addresses of my social media accounts are in the description below. And until next time.